Hello. Sorry to everybody that was in Zoom. I was running really late and just came down and I had to start a new Zoom. And I knew that if I got on there, I would never get to the live on time, which I was already 8 minutes late for. So that's why I just ended abruptly. But I'll start a new live when it's over. I had to start a new live anyway. Hello, Elle, Margot, Deborah, Liz Tops. Hi. Chris Ree, Carolyn P. So, they have found Nikki Alcaraz. The one that sounded a little bit like it could have been a Gabby Petito situation. They did find her, so we're going to look into where they found her, how they found her, because last night there was some video of where she went to a kiosk or something. I didn't know you could sell your phone in a kiosk. That reminds me of my phone. I got to do something on my phone. Oh my goodness, yes. And sell your phone. And we're going to look into that. And then we're also going to look into Elizabeth Holmes, who was like all up in that Theranos scam. She reported for prison today. She had her second baby in February, and she reported today. One photo, she looked really upset. The next photo, she was laughing or smiling with people. Strange. And then we're going to look at a Connecticut woman who vanished on a hike in Japan, and now foul play is suspected. So we're going to take a look at that and some other cases. Well, let's get going. Let's look at Nikki Alcaraz first. Whoops. Okay. She was, oopsie. I believe both of the couple, oh my gosh. Both of them have been found. Okay, because before they were saying that they were just seeing her, and so now it's the couple that went missing on the cross-country road trip to Orange County has been found safe. Police confirm on Tuesday. Nikki Alcaraz and her boyfriend, Tyler Stratton, were found in Eureka, California. Okay, what's significant about Eureka? Go. What's significant about Eureka? Let me see. Let me see if you get this. Hi, White Angel. What other true crime case involves Eureka, California? Eureka, California. Hi, Jennifer Stewart. What other true crime case involves Eureka, California?
Something was found in Eureka?
No. Yes, they were.
I found it.
I know, we know that. We're talking about something else.
We already been through all that? What Eureka means?
No, I want to know if they know what other case.
What does Eureka mean, honey?
It's not that what it means. It's what other.
It means I found it.
Right. Okay. No one knows this? Really? Seriously? Eureka, California? Wow. You don't know this, Elle, Cassie? Is my mic on? No, it is. You guys really don't know Eureka, California, what case?
Oh, we knew.
Shh, Jimmy, please.
How are we supposed to know?
It's very, very, very... Yes, Eva. Yes, Eva. Jodi Arias, guys. Eureka, California. Okay. Thank you, Eva. Okay, so a couple was found safe in Eureka, California, and that comes after they saw that Nikki was spotted at a Walmart store in Redding, California. Photograph was reportedly taken when she sold her phone at an Eco ATM, and the Redding Police Department learned that Nikki Alcaraz was contacted earlier by the Eureka Police Department and found to be safe. She was no longer considered a missing person. Stratton was reportedly arrested, according to local reports, though details on the arrest were not immediately available, but he had a warrant out for his arrest. And it wasn't due to her being missing or anything like that. It was due to a theft. They planned to travel to Orange County to visit her family, but 3 weeks ago, the 33-year-old disappeared when she had stopped contact with her family as of May 8th was the last contact, and then there was a run-in with the police prior to that where she had a black eye, and but he was saying that she had him. Neither one would press charges. And let's see if we can so they found her safe, and he's got was arrested on an unrelated warrant. It's tied to a theft charge. So that's what we have on that. And then let's go to Elizabeth Holmes. Well, let's go to no. Okay. So family members of a Connecticut woman who disappeared in Japan a month ago say they have returned to the possibility that she may have fallen victim to a crime. We can't help but circle back to that possibility that Patty is the victim of a crime. And that's according to her family writing this on her GoFundMe page. So I'm going to pull that page up. Help find Patty and bring her home safe. They've already raised $200,000 of the $225,000 goal. And it says here, my family and I urgently need your help. My name is Murphy Murad, the daughter of Patricia Wu-Murad, a U.S. citizen who has gone missing while hiking the Kumano-Koto Trail in Japan. My mother was reported missing to local authorities on Monday evening, April 10th, and despite a 72-hour search and rescue effort, she has yet to be found. Our family was notified by the U.S. Embassy on Friday, April 14th, and we are desperate to find her. We have been pleading with local authorities to continue the search, but unfortunately we have had zero luck. We now need to take matters into our own hands, hire a private search and rescue mountain crew, estimated 10,000, fly out to Osaka, estimated 5,000, and begin looking for ourselves. Additionally, the cost of hiring a helicopter for aerial search, a highly important resource. To cover as much ground as possible is roughly $1,600 per hour. We also need to cover insurance, accommodations, guides to lead us through the unfamiliar terrain, and other expenses that we cannot even begin to comprehend at the moment. We are reaching out to you, our family, friends, and community, to help us raise funds to cover these expenses. Every dollar counts, and any amount you can contribute will make a significant difference in our efforts to find our mom and wife. We are determined to bring her home safely, but we cannot do it alone. Please consider donating to our GoFundMe campaign and share our link. We appreciate your support and positive thoughts during this difficult time. Let's find Patty and bring her home. So the update here on May 18th says, unfortunately, another week has passed and we are still coming up empty-handed. This past week has been especially difficult on the family, with my dad's birthday, Mother's Day, and my parents' 33rd wedding anniversary all occurring days apart from each other. Our local Japanese SAR team was unable to search for a week straight due to heavy rain and other assignments. They have recently been able to start search efforts again, extending their search beyond the Miura Togi Pass. We are doing what we can to assist them in choosing search areas, but they are only able to find a 2-member team from here on out. What is
Calico. 2 pedestrians killed in Calico this morning.
Okay. Well, where is that?
Calico?
No, I know that, but okay, just send me the link, all right? Because
I'll try. Okay. Sorry for bothering you.
While this was taking place, my father and I had multiple conversations and meetings with the top-ranking members of U.S. SAR groups. We discussed scenarios, planning regions, search strategy, and evaluated the overall risk versus gain of additional efforts. Last night, we participated in a virtual strategy meeting with representatives from all 3 waves that came to Japan, as well as planning experts who have done a tremendous amount of remote work. At the end of this meeting, the team came to a consensus and agreed the best course of action is to assist the Japanese team by filling in the remaining gaps along the trail. We are geared up to fly another U.S. SAR team out as soon as possible. We will keep our eye on the region's weather to ensure this wave has at least 4 consecutive days with no rain in order to have the best visibility and avoid losing out on a working day. Okay, so let's go over here. So just by spreading awareness, we have received information from a solo female hiker that a man near one of the Kumano Koto trails asked if she would go home with him to help him practice his English. The incident occurred on April 20th, 10 days after Patty's disappearance. We forwarded all information to the Japanese police as well as the FBI, and this hiker has been more than willing to help in any way she can. This is why we need to continue talking about my mom's story. The police have come to a lot of dead ends in their investigation, but it's you getting our story out on multiple platforms to reach people all around the world who have these stories that we would have never been aware of. We still believe there is a possibility that Patty's trust in people could have made her a victim of foul play, and all stories and suggestions are welcome. We remain determined in our pursuit to find Patty, to find answers. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. So now let's see where so she traveled. This was her 3rd pilgrimage, and it's not unusual for her to go by herself, said her sister-in-law. She flew to Japan in early March to go on a pilgrimage along the Kumano Koto Trail. Let's see. She was last seen April 10th after leaving the Mandokoro guest house. We don't know for sure if she got on the trail, but we can only assume that she did. Her husband hit the ground in Japan with additional family members to join efforts to find her. Between the 3 of them, they're getting all the Mountain View Search and Rescue Team volunteers. The search isn't coming easy. A GoFundMe has been started to cover various expenses. And so, yeah. Let's see. They don't know where this woman is, and they got those tips, ouch, just recently about that man. let's see. So, if anybody knows anything, and definitely get, so I don't know, yes, you can get in touch through that GoFundMe page or call 911 or something like that. Let me see now what we have. Okay, now I'm going to get Elizabeth Holmes. Okay, so her husband is like blowing her kisses, so she's getting out of the car. Let me go and grab. Get an image. There we go. See, some pictures she looks really sad, and then there's others where she looks to be smiling, but her eyes look all red and her nose, and so there's something, I mean, let me see here, when did this happen? Okay, so I'm trying to get the, let's go through this, and then we'll talk about Amanda. So Elizabeth Holmes, who was convicted of defrauding investors at her failed blood testing startup Theranos, reported to a federal prison in Texas today to begin her 11-year, 3-month sentence. Ms. Holmes surrendered to FPC Bryan, a minimum security prison camp for women roughly 90 minutes from Houston. She pulled up in a Ford Expedition that appeared to be driven by her mother, Noelle Holmes. Her father, Christian Holmes, appeared to be inside. After some shuffling around out of view of the cameras gathered nearby, Elizabeth Holmes entered the facility wearing jeans, glasses, and a sweater, and carrying some papers. As she entered the prison, a bystander watching from the street yelled her name. FPC Bryan's 655 inmates are required to work in the cafeteria or in a manufacturing facility where pay starts at $1.15 an hour. Before starting work at the factory, Ms. Holmes may take a test to assess her strengths in areas such as business, clerical, numerical, logic, mechanical, and social. Inmates can also enroll in a Lean Six Sigma training program to learn about efficiency. We try to help our ladies obtain work in the factory, which focuses on their strengths so they may develop additional marketable skills, according to the prison handbook. Elizabeth Holmes, 39, was found guilty last year on 4 counts of wire fraud and conspiracy for falsely claiming that Theranos' blood tests could detect a variety of ailments with just a few drops of blood. She and her former business partner, Ramesh Balwani, must together pay $452 million in restitution to investors who were defrauded. Elizabeth Holmes has appealed her case, though her requests to remain out of prison during the appeal have been denied. Ms. Holmes founded Theranos in 2003 after dropping out of Stanford University at the age of 19. The company raised $950 million in funding, making her a billionaire on paper. Theranos collapsed in 2018. Ms. Holmes and Mr. Balwani were indicted that year. The pair were tried separately. Mr. Balwani was convicted on 12 counts of fraud and is serving a nearly 13-year sentence in a federal prison in San Pedro, California. He has also appealed his case. Ms. Holmes' sentence was meant to send a message to others in the Silicon Valley. There are consequences when ambitious startup founders take, and have those known as fake it till you make it, when entrepreneurs speak ambitiously about what their companies can do, even if the companies can't do those things too far. Despite the tech industry's long history of stretching the rules as entrepreneurs invent new businesses and disrupt old ones, few have ever gone to prison for lying. Since her conviction, Elizabeth Holmes has been living in a rental home in San Diego near the family of Billy Evans, who is the father of her 2 children. During her trial held in San Jose, Ms. Holmes and Mr. Evans lived in a home on the grounds of Green Gables, a $135 million estate in the wealthy town of Woodside. Their 2 young children, William and Invicta, will be able to conduct video calls with Ms. Holmes and visit her on weekends and federal holidays. I thought she had 2 girls. I didn't realize she had a boy and a girl. I always thought she had 2 girls. Phone calls are limited to 15 minutes each, with a total of 300 minutes per month. At FPC, Brian, Ms. Holmes, known for wearing black turtlenecks to mimic Steve Jobs while running Theranos, and during her trial sporting heels, sheath dresses, and a diaper bag, will wear prison-issued khaki pants and shirts in pastel green, gray, or white with athletic shoes that must not exceed $100 in value. She will not have any internet access, but she can buy a radio for $31.75 or an MP3 player at $88.40 from the commissary. All music must be non-explicit. The women's prison camp offers leisure activities including music programs, table games, and movies. Arts and crafts are available, including beading, knitting, paper art, crochet, and ceramics. A crochet needle will cost $1.30, and yarn is $3.55 at the commissary. Inmates have access to an outdoor recreation yard pavilion, but must return to their dorms for head count that occurs 5 times every 24 hours. Counterfeiting or forging documents and conducting a business are against the rules. Elizabeth Holmes admitted to falsifying pharmaceutical reports to solicit investors while testifying in her trial. Other inmates at the prison camp include Jen Shah, a real housewife of Salt Lake City. She's serving a 5.5-year sentence for wire fraud related to telemarketing. In a blog post from March about her first few days in prison, Ms. Shah described difficulty operating the phone system, which uses account numbers, and noted that not many people were nice. Breakfast was instant oatmeal, an apple, and a slice of wheat bread with jelly. Leah Fasto, a former executive for the collapsed energy company Enron, was incarcerated for tax fraud at the same women's prison camp for 11 months in the mid-2000s. Jenna Ryan, a participant in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, spent 60 days there. And Michelle Janaise, daughter of a Hot Pockets co-founder, served 5 months for her association with the Operation Varsity Blues college admission scandal. 3 inmates escaped the women's prison. One of them, Edith Lara, who was serving time for drug charges, has not been found. So let's see what else we have. So in a related case, let's put this here. And we're not done with Elizabeth. But this is Charlie Javis leaving a federal court in Manhattan after being accused of falsifying customer data. Faking it is over. That's the feeling in Silicon Valley, along with some along with a pinch of paranoia. Not only has funding dried up for cash-burning startups over the last year, but now fraud is also in the air as investors scrutinize startup claims more closely, and a tech downturn reveals who has been taking the industry's fake it till you make it too far. Take what happened in the past 2 weeks. Charlie Javis, the founder of a financial aid startup, Frank, was arrested, accused of falsifying customer data. A jury found Rishi Shah, co-founder of the advertising software startup Outcome Health, guilty of defrauding customers and investors, and a judge ordered Elizabeth Holmes, the founder who defrauded investors at her blood testing startup Theranos, to begin an 11-year prison sentence. Those developments follow the February arrests of Carlos Watson, the founder of Aussie Media, and Christopher Kirshner, the founder of the software company Slink, both accused of defrauding investors. And still to come is the fraud trial of Manish Lakhwani, a co-founder of the software startup Headspin, set to begin in May, and that of Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of the cryptocurrency exchange FTX, who faces 13 fraud charges later this year. Taken together, the chorus of charges, convictions, and sentences has been creating a feeling that the startups world's fast and loose fakery actually has consequences, despite this generation's many high-profile scandals and downfalls. Few startup founders, aside from Ms. Holmes, ever faced criminal charges for pushing the boundaries of business puffery as they disrupted us into the future. The funding downturn may be to blame. Unethical behavior can largely be overlooked when times are good, as they were for tech startups in the 2010s. But between 2012 and 2021, funding to tech startups in the United States jumped eightfold to $344 billion, which, according to PitchBook, who tracks startups, more than 1,200 of them are considered unicorns, worth $1 billion or more on paper. But when the easy money dries up, everyone parrots the Warren Buffett proverb about finding out who is swimming naked when the tide goes out. After FTX filed for bankruptcy in November, Brian Chesky, the chief executive of Airbnb, updated the adage for the millennial tech founders. It feels like we were in a nightclub and the lights were just turned on. In the past, the venture capital investors who backed startups were reluctant to pursue legal action when they were duped. The companies were small with few assets to recover, and going after a founder would hurt the investor's reputation. That has changed as the unicorns have soared, attracting billions in funding, and as larger, more traditional investors, including hedge funds, corporate investors, and mutual funds, have entered the investing game. There is more money at stake, so it just changes the calculus, said Alexander Dyke, a professor of finance at the University of Toronto, who specializes in corporate governance. The Justice Department has been urging prosecutors to be bold in its pursuit of more business frauds. IRL, a messaging app that investors valued at $1 billion, is being investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission for allegedly misleading investors about how many users it had. Rumby, a laundry delivery startup in Ohio, allegedly fabricated a story of financial success to secure funding, which its founder used to buy himself a $1.7 million home, according to a lawsuit from one of its investors. News outlets have also reported unethical behavior at startups, including Olive, a $4 billion healthcare software startup, and Nate, an e-commerce startup claiming to use artificial intelligence. A spokeswoman for Olive in the company has disputed and denied the reported allegations. All of this creates an awkward moment for venture capital investors. When startup valuations were soaring, they were seen as visionary kingmakers. It was easy enough to convince the world and the investors in their funds, pension funds, college endowments, and wealthy individuals, that they were responsible stewards of capital with their unique skills required to predict the future and find the next Steve Jobs to build it. But as more startup frauds are revealed, these titans of industry are playing a different role in lawsuits, bankruptcy filings, and court testimonies. The victim that got duped. Alfred Lin, an investor at Sequoia Capital, a top Silicon Valley firm, put $150 million into FTX. He reflected on the cryptocurrency disaster, saying, and I quote, "It's not that we made the investment, it's the year and a half working relationship afterwards that I didn't see it. That is difficult." Venture capital investors say their asset class is among the riskiest place to park money, which holds the potential for outsized rewards. The startup world celebrates failures, and if you're not failing, you're viewed as not taking enough risks. But it's unclear whether that defense will hold as the scandals become more humiliating for everyone involved. Investors are increasingly asking consultants to help identify the telltale signs of narcissists who are more likely to commit fraud. They want to tighten up the protocols around how they're assessing founders. We had a series of events which should be prompting reflections. Okay, so let's see. There's a lot going on here, and she's, like the first of many. So let's go to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth Holmes' lawyers wanted to delay the start of her prison sentence, and they asked if she could remain free while appealing her conviction. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals denied her request and ruled that Holmes has not raised a substantial question of law or fact about her case. Holmes's family will be able to visit her every weekend, and her children will be able to sit on her lap. Women are also allowed to breastfeed in visitation areas. Most interactions with family are carefully regulated at the facility. A brief kiss, embrace, or handshake are allowed only upon arrival and departure. She will not have access to the internet while incarcerated, but inmates can have a radio, an MP3 player, or watch purchased through the prison's commissary. Prison guidelines stipulate that all music must be non-explicit, as we said, and she will be able to watch television at designated hours and at the discretion of the staff. Among recreational activities, like we said, that she'll have beading, knitting, ceramics, paper art, Fimo, crocheting, quilling, plastic canvas art, and beading. Trying to see what Okay, so she does have that Real Housewife of Salt Lake City in there with her. So she's not the only, air quotes, famous inmate. And let's see. Then Lynn Espejo, who was convicted of defrauding her employer, said the policy is that every new person arriving gets cleared by medical and then they have to go work in the kitchen for 90 days. That's not a guarantee, though. Holmes could get a job elsewhere, such as the prison's education department, and be excused from kitchen work. Espejo, who now works as a prison reform advocate, was granted a compassionate release in 2021 because of COVID. There is also a program in which inmates can train service dogs at the facility, or Elizabeth Holmes could teach classes to other inmates. Who's to say Elizabeth Holmes will be in the kitchen tonight? By policy, she's supposed to be. But who knows if that's going to happen? Holmes, Espejo said, will be dressed in a khaki jumpsuit, which is recycled from inmate to inmate, and will be sleeping on what is likened to a kindergarten mat. That's basically what it looks like. They fold out at school and take naps at. It's not good bedding, and you really feel like you're laying directly on steel. There are 4 units at the prison camp facility, which is among the lowest level security facilities in the federal system, but Espejo said it isn't Camp Cupcake, as some describe it. She recalled dilapidated conditions when she served time there, including moldy showers and little hot water in the winter. A source said that every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, movies are shown in the common area. Holmes won't be locked behind bars in her cell. Rather, she'll live in a room with 2 bunks and folding chairs in the middle. Espejo said the hardest adjustment is being alone. I think it will be a culture shock to her. I know it was to me when I first got there. Missing your family is gut-wrenching. Well, let's see what her prison is like, okay? Okay, so the prison is located 100 miles outside of Houston, and that's where Holmes grew up before moving to California to attend Stanford. It is a minimum security federal prison. It's housing more than 600 women offenders. Federal prison camps are minimum security institutions with dormitory housing, a relatively low staff to inmate ratio, and limited or no perimeter fencing. The prisons are sometimes nicknamed Camp Fed because they're less restrictive than other institutions. But according to Mark McDougall, a longtime white-collar defense lawyer and former federal prosecutor, the prison won't be a walk in the park for Elizabeth Holmes. I think people who talk about Camp Fed have never actually been inside a federal correctional institution. McDougall said, "It's not a place where people would want to spend time if they could be somewhere else." FPC Brian will likely be a heavily populated with white-collar offenders. Housing typically consists of dormitory-style arrangements featuring a 4-bunk cubicle and communal bath facilities. There's no privacy. Inmates at FPC Brian are required to maintain a job assignment, as we said. We already went through that. McDougall noted there's many volunteer opportunities at Bryan, and it is very likely that someone with Holmes' background might find herself teaching. I expect she would be teaching in some fashion, he said. That's a very common occupation for inmates who have some education. Holmes became a mother of two in the time between her indictment in 2018 and the start of her prison sentence, and she'll only be able to see her children and other family members during visiting hours on weekends and federal holidays. Anyone that suggests she's going to be in a pleasant environment or have an easy time of it is kidding themselves, McDougall said. Okay, let me see what we can see from this place. Hold on. Let's go to the prison handbook. Okay. Inmates are given a social screening by unit management and medical screening by health services and mental health staff at the time they arrive. Inmates are immediately provided with a copy of institution rules and regulations, which include information on inmate rights and responsibilities. It also includes information on SA and abuse. Within 28 days of arrival, inmates will participate in the admission and orientation program. While in A&O, inmates are advised of the program services, policies, and procedures regarding the facility. Classification teams. Each inmate is assigned to a housing unit. A unit is a self-contained inmate living area that includes both housing sections and office space for unit staff. Each unit is staffed by a unit team directly responsible for the inmates living in the unit. I just want to make sure that you guys are on here. Okay. The unit offices are located in the unit so staff and inmates can be accessible to each other. The unit staff typically includes a unit manager, a case manager, correctional counselor, and unit secretary. The staff psychologist, educational advisor, and unit officer are considered members of the unit team and provide input for classification purposes. Inmates are assigned to a specific unit team, generally the resolution of issues or matters of interest while at the institution are most appropriately initiated with the unit team. Unit team members are available to assist in many areas, including parole matters, release planning, personal and family problems, counseling, and assistance in setting and attaining goals while in prison. Ordinarily, a member of the unit staff will be at the institution from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and during the day on weekdays and holidays. Okay, let's see what else. There's town hall meetings you can go to. Sanitation. It is the inmate's responsibility to check her room immediately after being assigned there and report all damages to a unit officer or correctional counselor. An inmate may be held financially liable for any damage to her personal living area. Each inmate is responsible for making her bed in accordance with posted regulations before work call, including weekends and holidays, when she leaves the area. Each inmate is also responsible for sweeping and mopping her room floor, removing trash, and ensuring it is clean and sanitary. Cardboard boxes and other paper containers are not permitted for storage due to their combustible nature. Lockers must be neatly arranged inside and out, and all shelving must be neat and clean. Chairs are assigned to each cell and will not be defaced or marked in any manner by the inmate. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, combs, razors, and soap for personal hygiene are issued by the institution. Inmates may purchase name brand items through the commissary. Personal property limits. items which may be retained by an inmate are limited for sanitation and security reasons and to ensure excess personal property is not accumulated, which could constitute a fire hazard or impair staff searches of the cell. Each institution is required to establish an institution supplement regarding inmate personal property, specifically identifying personal property which the inmate may retain. Storage space. Okay, so they get a locker. Let's see here. Clothing, civilian clothing. Ordinarily is not authorized for retention by the inmate. Pre-release civilian clothing for an inmate may be retained by staff in the receiving and discharge area during the last 30 days of an inmate's confinement. All inmates are prohibited from wearing any clothing not government issued or purchased in the commissary. No inmates may be issued, permitted to purchase or have in their possession any blue, black, red, or camouflage clothing or cloth items. Commissary sales of clothing are limited to the following colors. Only gray or white may be sold in institutions for males, and only pastel green, gray, and white may be sold in institutions for females. The only exception is for religious headgear. All government clothing, except undergarments, will be tagged with a label indicating the inmate's name and registration number. The items are to be neatly stored in the identified storage space provided. Individual washcloths and towels are issued to inmates. Okay, let's see. Representative authorized footwear shoes may include work, 1 pair, shower, 1 pair, athletic specialty, 1 pair, black, white, gray, or combination thereof with a maximum value of $100. Slippers, 1 pair, casual, 1 pair. Footwear will be placed neatly under the bed. These items are authorized to the point they can be contained in the storage area provided for personal property: letters, books, photographs, newspapers, and magazines. An inmate will be limited in the number of letters, books, photographs, and magazines and newspapers that can be stored in their designated storage space. Nothing is to be tacked, stapled, or scotch taped to any surface except to bulletin boards. Ordinarily, photographs, particularly those of family and friends, are approved since they represent meaningful ties to the community. A personal photograph is defined as a photograph intended for individual viewing as opposed to a photograph published for commercial use. Personal photographs may be stored or displayed in the housing unit, according to local sanitization and housekeeping guidelines. Inmates may not retain Polaroid photos, nude or sexually suggestive photos, individual prints or copies as opposed to those from publications. Present special concerns about personal safety, security, and good order, particularly when the subject is an inmate's relative, friend, or acquaintance, or could be reasonably be perceived as such. For these reasons, an inmate may not be permitted to retain, receive, or possess a personal photograph in which the subject is partially nude, or when the photograph depicts sexual acts. These materials will be returned to the sender upon receipt at the institution. Staff may allow an inmate to possess legal materials in accordance with the provisions on inmate legal activities. Hobbycraft materials. Staff shall limit an inmate's hobby shop projects within the cell or living area to those projects which the inmate may store in designated personal property containers. Staff may make an exception for an item, for example, a painting, where size would prohibit placing the item in a locker. The exception is made with the understanding that the placement of the item at the inmate's own risk. Staff shall require that hobby shop items be removed from the living area when completed. Radio, MP3 players, and watches. An inmate may possess only one approved radio or MP3 player and watch at a time. The inmate must be able to demonstrate proof of ownership. An inmate who purchases a radio, an MP3 player, or watch through a BOP commissary is ordinarily permitted the use of that item at any BOP institution. The inmate is later transferred. If the inmate is not allowed to use the radio, MP3 player, or watch at the new institution, the inmate shall be permitted to mail, at the receiving institution's expense, the item to a destination of the inmate's choice. Okay. Jewelry. Inmates may have a plain wedding band and appropriate religious medallion and chain without stones to be worn on the inside of the shirt. The value of these items not to exceed $100 each. Inmate smoking is prohibited in all facilities. In order to minimize maintenance cost, permit uniform inspection, search procedures are maintained, orderly congregate living, and institution has imposed reasonable regulations on inmate conduct and furnishings in housing units. The rules include items such as all beds are to be made daily in the prescribed manner. If a cell or room is not acceptable, disciplinary action will be taken. Unit meal rotation is ordinarily based on weekly sanitation ratings of each unit. The unit with the highest sanitation is called first, and the unit with the lowest ranking is called last. Each inmate is responsible for cleaning and sanitation of a room. Everyone is responsible for cleaning up after themselves. Sexually suggestive photographs are not authorized for display outside of the individual locker or cabinet. Provocative pictures, posters, cartoons, and any items cut out of magazines may not be displayed on the bulletin boards or in any cell or dorm. Showers are available every day, but inmates may not be in the shower during an official count. Safety shoes must be worn to work as designated in policy. Unit televisions may be viewed during established off-duty hours. During normal working hours, unit televisions will be viewed at the discretion of the staff. A general wake-up for all inmates is 6 a.m. It's the inmate's responsibility to leave the unit for meals and work. Late sleepers who are unable to maintain rooms or arrive at work on time are subject to disciplinary action. Institutions issue clothing to the inmate population that is properly fitted, climatically suitable, and presentable. Institutions will furnish each inmate with sufficient clothing to allow at least 3 changes of clothes a week. Institutions establish local procedures to account for the initial use of government-furnished items to inmates and for their return before release. Government-issued clothing will not be altered or disfigured in any manner. Examples, but not limited to the following: converting pants to shorts, pleats, cutting off shirt sleeves, defacing clothing. An inmate found to have destroyed government property may receive an incident report, and appropriate disciplinary action will be taken. Each institution has established local procedures for replacing lost or damaged clothing or clothing that does not fit properly. Additionally, you may contact the Trust Fund Department for guidance or questions about laundry clothing operation. The institution may provide clean clothing in several ways: access to self-serve washers, a centralized laundry, or a combination of the two. Okay, commissary. The national spending limit is $360, but may be further restricted at the local level. Each inmate account is revalidated on a monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly cycle. Okay, so Okay, so here's there's a smoking cessation program, HIV testing, a TB skin test to test for exposure to TB, chest x-ray if you have a positive TB test, chlamydia test if you are age 25 or less, syphilis test will be taken at your intake, a pap smear to test for cervical cancer or other conditions at your intake, MMR vaccine to protect against measles, mumps, and rubella, okay, routine preventative screening, viral hepatitis if you're at risk for hepatitis B or hepatitis C. If you report that you had a prior infection, HIV is recommended for all sentenced inmates. TB skin test every year unless your record shows a positive test in the past. A mammogram, breast cancer mammogram every 2 years beginning at age 50, beginning at age 40 if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. That's weird because I thought it was always 40. Pap smear every 3 years if you're age 21 to 29, every 3 to 5 years with an HPV test if you're age 30 or older. Colon cancer, testing for blood in your stool every year beginning at age 50. Colonoscopy recommended if you're at higher risk. Diabetes if your blood pressure is greater than 135/80. Cholesterol beginning at age 20, but only if you have risk factors. In addition, vaccinations are provided as recommended by health authorities based on your age and specific needs. Other preventative health services may be available to you. You can also request a preventative health visit to review needed services every 3 years if you're under 50, or every year if you are over 50 and older. Exercise. Take care of yourself while you're in prison. Exercise regularly. Eat a healthy diet. Low fat, more fruits and vegetables. Take medications and supplements recommended by your doctor. Don't use tobacco or illegal drugs. Don't have sexual contact with others while in prison. Don't get a tattoo while in prison. Don't share personal items like razors, toothbrushes, and towels. Wash your hands in prison regularly. Okay. Dental triage. Dental sick call is provided for patients who are experiencing emergencies. Any inmate with a dental emergency should report to health services. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. An inmate request a staff member cop-out may be submitted to the dentist for any other dental request. Dental emergencies are toothache, swelling in the jaw or gums that is painful or distorts the face, broken dentures that lacerate the mouth, a traumatic wound, complications from previous treatments, and other conditions that, in the opinion of the examiner, require medical attention. Conditions that are not treated on sick call are lost fillings without pain, pain when eating or drinking hot or cold foods, bleeding gums, teeth cleaning, a lost tooth or denture, fabrication of crowns. Okay, then let's see. Visitors must be dressed properly. Halter tops or other clothing of a suggestive or revealing nature will not be permitted in the visiting room. Shorts will be allowed. However, short skirts and dresses must be no shorter than 2 inches above the knee. Footwear designed for street wear must be worn by all visitors. Shower-type shoes will not be permitted. Visitors failing to follow the dress code may be denied visitation privileges. Transparent garments of any kind, not allowed. Bathing suits, not allowed. Mini skirts, not allowed. Crop tops, no sir. Sundresses, no way. Halter tops, negative. Backless tops, get out of here. Hats, caps, and scarves, you're not coming in. Wraparound skirts, shirts, or dresses, Forget about it. Spandex pants, skirts, or tights, and leotards. No way. Get out of here. Sweatpants or sweatshirts. You're not coming in. Hooded shirts, jackets, or sweaters. No way. Skirts, short dresses, 2 or more inches above the knee. 3-inch max spike heels. Flip-flop style beach shoes or shower shoes, go on out. Clothing resembling that issued to the inmate, khaki, get out of here. You're not switching. You're not going to switch places. Footwear designed for streetwear must be worn by all visitors. Visitors failing to follow the dress code may be denied visitation privileges. Identification is required for all visitors 16 years and older. Okay. Okay, so, all right, so that's where she is. So that she was living in this, this was a beachside house that she went from. Let's see here. Let's read about when she met her boyfriend. Okay, so Elizabeth Holmes and Billy Evans met just as Theranos was collapsing, and the pair got serious quickly. They moved into a San Francisco apartment together. They married in a secret ceremony in 2019 and had a baby together in 2021. Just months later, Holmes was found guilty of wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud. She was later sentenced to more than 11 years in prison in November of 2022. Shortly after her sentencing, it was confirmed she was pregnant with her second child. A February 2023 court document revealed that Holmes had given birth ahead of her original April 2023 incarceration start date. Given that she has 2 small children, Holmes and her lawyers requested that she remain free pending an appeal. However, Holmes' bid to stay out of prison was rejected, and a new report date was set up for May 30th of 2023. Billy Evans' grandparents founded a hospitality company which runs 3 luxury hotels in San Diego. According to the Evans Hotel website, William and Ann Evans founded the company in 1953. Evans attended Massachusetts Institute of Technology from 2010 to 2015, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Economics. 5 years. During that time, he studied abroad in China at Fudan University in Shanghai, focusing on Chinese language and literature. Evans' LinkedIn profile doesn't list a place of current employment, but it does show that he worked at LinkedIn itself upon graduation, staying there until February of 2017. He then moved to Luminar Technologies, a self-driving car company, as a special projects manager. How did they meet? Well, it's reported that they met at a party in the Bay Area in the summer of 2017. Little is known about the early days of their relationship. Neither has public social media accounts. So let's see. There were some pictures of them that were made public on Twitter. Let's see what we have here. In 2017, at a charity benefit, Elizabeth Holmes and Billy Evans were introduced by a mutual friend, and they talked for 3 hours straight. To say we immediately fell in love isn't an overstatement, Billy Evans told the New York Times during a joint interview with Elizabeth Holmes, who added that her now husband entered the relationship with warranted skepticism. And I quote her saying, "It had been 2 years of all this stuff written about me, and I think you get to know someone in a totally different way when you walk in with that skepticism versus if you meet when everything is sunshine and roses. And this allowed us to get to know each other in a really deep way." After a year and a half of dating, during which time Elizabeth and Billy were seen at Burning Man and at restaurants around their San Francisco neighborhood, it was reported that the two were engaged because Elizabeth was seen with Billy Evans' MIT signet ring. Billy and the MIT ring, they're inseparable, said a former Luminar colleague. He could snap his fingers and have a AAA diamond engagement ring instantly if he wanted to, but if you give her some extravagant ring, it could end up owned by the feds if she has to give up her material possessions. That same year, the couple tied the knot during a private wedding in June of 2019. At the time, Evans was 27 and Holmes was 35. Wow. He's 8 years younger than her. She gave birth to their son, William Holmes Evans, on July 10th of 2021. Oh, he's not even 2 years old. In Redwood, California, her pregnancy delayed the trial, which had already been moved several times due to COVID. In November of 2022, it was revealed that Holmes and Evans were expecting another child per the court filings. I'm just trying to think of something. Hold on a minute. So if in November, oh, wait a minute. Oh, we don't know how far along she was. Okay, so November, December, January, February, there she was through February, she had another one. Okay. So 19 months, oh, same like Ethan and Luke. Okay. She became pregnant after being convicted in January. In photos taken at her sentencing, she was visibly pregnant, suggesting she would give birth before turning herself in to federal authorities on April 27th. A court document filed in February revealed that she had given birth to her second child. After she begins her sentence, her kids might see her a few hours on the weekends. Let's see. Okay, so a reporter, Amy Chazek, spent several days with Elizabeth Holmes and Billy Evans. for a joint profile in May of 2023 to get a good sense of their dynamic as husband and wife and as parents. She tagged along on a family outing to the zoo. She visited the pair's rental home and she shared several meals with the two. Chosnick struggled to determine if Elizabeth Holmes was being authentic throughout the interview process, considering she was convicted of corporate fraud. When the journalist broached the topic of honesty with Elizabeth, Billy stepped in to defend his wife. Your question is, how do you say anything when everything you say is going to be doubted? You just have to say it, he said. The New York Times reporter also touched on the public's perception that Elizabeth Holmes used her first pregnancy to delay her trial and her second pregnancy to avoid reporting to jail. If we let how other people might view that or what impression someone might make of it dictate how we live our lives, then we've lost. It was just bad timing. She added, finding your person in the middle of all this and experiencing that love when you're going through hell is the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. Okay, so let me go here. Okay. So, disgraced Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has been holed up in a $135 million Silicon Valley estate with her husband and new baby when she was awaiting her fraud trial. So, this is the main house at Green Gables, and they were believed to have been renting one of the smaller properties on the ground because they're 6. Let me see if anybody is here. Okay, so, hi Linda Uribe. The husband sounds just like her, Linda Uribe. The marriage won't last, Barb Olson says. He was blowing her kisses, Barb. He was blowing her kisses as she was entering the facility. But he's 8 years younger than her. And if she is going to serve almost 12 years, I wonder, right? I wonder. I don't know. It's going to be a big change for him. He's a very privileged person living a very privileged life, and she's not going to be living that life, and we'll see what happens. Let's see. What else? Walgreens at one time pushed her fake meds, and people that used her thing for all the tests caused people to go untreated. Yeah, I was just reading. I just saw that about Walgreens. Yep. That's interesting that you said that just then, because I just... Oh, yeah. let's see. There are some who probably had to go to therapy for this, and there's one person on the team who died from suicide. Justin Maxwell, who worked at the company as a designer from 2007 to 2008. Others want her to receive a prison sentence and say she deserves nothing less. The cynical side of me, after years in the Marine Corps, thinks there's no balance in the universe. Bad people get away with this shite, but this is like the giant karma, said Del Barnwell, a former software engineer. Another said, this is healthcare. You're dealing with people's lives. She should go to jail. He said he knew that the machines didn't work and was astonished when pharmacy chains, including Walgreens, signed on to buy them. The machine did not work at all. When Walgreens signed and Safeway signed, I was looking at my two buddies. I'm like, dude, what the H are these people thinking? It doesn't do anything, he said. The employee who killed himself was Ian Gibbons. He took his life in 2013, the day before he was due to be deposed as part of a patent dispute between Theranos and Richard Fuse. His widow, Rochelle, said neither Holmes nor Sonny Balwani, her co-founder and ex-boyfriend, who is also charged, this is an older article because this is before they were tried, ever contacted her to pass on their condolences after her husband's death, but Theranos asked for his laptop back. Holmes never actually reached out to me ever in the whole history of my relationship with her, and Sonny didn't reach out to me. She added that it was hell for her husband to work at the company. It was hell for him to work there. It was complete hell, and I think he was very confused about why he was being treated so badly. He felt like he was always being watched. I think Elizabeth Holmes wanted to pit people against each other. She was very intimidating. I don't know what else to say. She found it interesting that Elizabeth Holmes requested a delay to the trial because she was pregnant. Originally, she was putting herself forth as sort of an independent, ferocious woman, and now she's playing the meek, poor mother. She's figuring out a defense, what strikes me as sort of skipping a step, because then she has to admit that she did something wrong. Maxwell said Theranos tracked his hours and monitored his communications. He said there was a sinister environment filled by weird corporate spies who would report back anything they didn't like to Elizabeth Holmes. He said that staff knew Theranos technology was not reliable, but they were too afraid to speak up because they feared Elizabeth Holmes so much. The workers say that Holmes and Balwani tried to distance herself in 2017. They were so paranoid about the company that they didn't let any workers list Theranos on their LinkedIn pages. They also claim that she hired bodyguards who would write down whenever someone entered or exited the building. Okay. And hello, Debbie L. Hello, Lisa L. Hello, White Angel. In 2014, Forbes named her youngest self-made female billionaire with net worth of $4.5 billion. In 2016, Forbes listed her net worth at zero. Hi, Jeanette. Fertility hormone injections. She's 39. What's going on? Hold on. Their marriage won't last, Barb said. Lindy Ruby said, no, I have not. Julie W. Julie W. said, Barb Olson, I don't know if they're officially married. They did. They did in the husband sounds just like her, Linda said. Linda Ruby, it's impressive. Barb says she's knocked up again. No, I don't think so. Things change as time passes. Barb says, Julie, yes. The last baby's only 3 months old, I believe. The last baby was born in February. March, April, May. Yeah, they're about 3 months. But why do you say, wait, Julie, Linda, Barb Olson, are you joking? Oh, Barb says, Julie, yes, the last baby is only 3 months. Well, she still could be pregnant again. She can be. Yes, there's people that get pregnant sooner than that. If she was really trying to delay something with a pregnancy, who knows? Maybe she tried. Maybe you just broke something. Maybe in her intake, they're going to find out she's pregnant, Barb. Maybe you broke the case there. Did you? Maybe you did. Barb Olson, she's 39. Fertility hormone injections. What do you mean? 39-year-olds can have babies? Many 39-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 41-year-olds, 42-year-olds have babies. 39 is not the end. Julie W., really think that's like she can't have a baby at 39? 39 is actually younger in today's standards. Look at so many others. Really? I forgot she had a baby. Her hormones would be up. I'm so lost. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You can't possibly think that someone at this 39 can have a baby. Oh, Barb Olson, you do think she is pregnant. I thought you said no, you were joking because the baby was only 3 months. I'm reading all this wrong. Carolyn, do you know when Chad... No, nobody knows when Chad Daybell's... His trial has been pushed back. He's probably going to end up with a plea deal or something to get the death penalty off the table. Nancy, they have not... They're going into like 2024. Okay, well, that's what I'm reading. I don't know, Julie. I'm reading yours and Barb's things maybe all wrong. That's what happens with text. So I don't know, because you said something about she would need fertility shots or something because she's 39. I don't know. I did. I was 41 when I had my last child. Yeah, I know. My mother was 44 when I was born. Well, 2 weeks shy of it. Oh, yeah. I know, Linda Uribe. Believe me, I know in every way possible. I just didn't. I'm reading their text wrong, I guess. I'm reading their text wrong. Between Barb and Julie, it's hard to decipher the different. I shouldn't go back in the texts. I always get confused. So, yeah, Chad Daybell. That's going to be, I don't know, a long time if even. He doesn't take a plea deal because of what happened with Lori. I don't know. We'll see. So what else? Shoot. I have to put a new set of aligners in tonight. Remember that. Okay. Here. Please forget. I'm so behind. It is harder to get pregnant at 39, and well, it's not always harder to get pregnant at 39. It's not. It can be. Can be extremely easy to get pregnant at 39. Yeah. It can be hard to get pregnant at 23. It can be simple to get pregnant at 41. It all depends. It may be average, like odds are it might be decrease fertility, but it's subjective, right? Okay. She might have tried very hard to get pregnant. She might be pregnant. Who knows? How would that change something? Would they release her because of the pregnancy? Would they release her in there? I don't know. I don't know. But let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Let me see if there was anything. Let's see. There's a bunch of conspiracy stuff going on about Kohlberger. We don't cover conspiracy, but I know a lot of channels are just putting out the lies. Even going ahead with lies that were debunked ages ago. They're starting all over again. Let's see. I think we went. What do we have here? Here's something. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. The former lovers of a Maryland woman have been sentenced to decades behind bars for murdering her, dismembering her body, and dumping her remains in the Chesapeake Bay. On Friday, a judge sentenced 45-year-old Christina Stallings Harnish and the 47-year-old William Rice, each to 40 years in prison, in connection with the brutal murder of Megan Tillman in 2017. Authorities allege that Harnish and Rice had a romantic relationship with 42-year-old Tillman, a mother of two who lived at her home in Annapolis. Tillman reportedly financially supported both Harnish and Rice, but when she could no longer do that, prosecutors allege the two killed her. Investigators said Tillman was intellectually disabled and that Harnish and Rice took advantage of that. Cousins of Tillman reported her missing on November 1st of 2017, days after body parts began washing ashore in Shadyside, Maryland. At the time, authorities did not know those body parts belonged to Tillman, but the remains were linked to her 18 months later. Prosecutors described the woman's death as the worst second-degree murder imaginable. Defense lawyers for Harnish and Rice claimed that their clients had gotten into a fight with Tillman while they were drunk and high on crack cocaine and eventually killed her in a struggle. Police arrested the pair 4 years after they were found in a homeless encampment in Arizona. If you ever want to know horror, imagine body pieces of a loved one washing ashore, Tillman's aunt, Shannon Perry, told the court in a victim's impact statement. And a California appeals court panel has reinstated a parole grant for former Charles Manson follower Leslie Van Houten after Governor Gavin Newsom blocked her release earlier this year. The 2-1 ruling by the panel from California's 2nd District Court of Appeal does not mean Van Houten, 73, will be released from prison. The state can still appeal to the California Supreme Court. Van Houten was 19 when she participated in the killings of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca in 1969. The LaBiancas were killed a day after Manson followers killed actress Sharon Tate and 4 others. Van Houten was not present for those killings. LaBiancas. Now, I remember someone saying about the LaBiancas recently over here. They said something about the LaBiancas. I'm going to look into that. Van Houten was initially sentenced to death for her role in the LaBianca slayings, but the sentence was commuted to life in prison when California outlawed the death penalty. She's been behind bars ever since 1971. This is what she looked like back then. The state parole board has recommended Van Houten's release 5 times since her conviction. Newsom blocked the most recent in March of 2022, writing that he didn't believe she sufficiently demonstrated that she has come to terms with the totality of the factors that led her to participate in the vicious Manson family killings. Written for the majority of the appeals panel, Associate Justice Helen Bendix disagreed with Newsom's assessment, saying, and I quote, Van Houten has shown extraordinary rehabilitative efforts, insight, remorse, realistic parole plans, support from family and friends, favorable institutional reports, and at the time of the governor's decision had received 4 successful grants of parole. The judge wrote in a 58-page decision. Presiding Justice Francis Rothschild dissented with Bendix and Associate Justice Victoria Gerard Cheney, however, writing that the record contains some evidence that Van Houten lacked insight into the commitment offense, which was enough when coupled with the heinous nature of the crime to provide some evidence of current dangerousness and support the governor's decision. Neither Newsom's office nor the California Attorney General Ron Bonta immediately responded with a comment. But we're going to look at the LaBiancas because I remember I feel like we just discussed this with someone recently. I forget who it was. Okay. Oh, is this the one where they went to a safe or something? Okay, hold on. I've got to clean my glasses. Leno and Rosemary LaBianca went to bed on August 10th of 1969. Again, the 10th. They were disturbed by news of a violent murder across town. The day before, someone had killed actress Sharon Tate, several of her house guests. And I remember seeing a documentary on that was like the most graphic, or I had heard about it, but it was just, I don't remember what documentary it was. I think it was on A&E. And several of the house guests in the middle of the night, the word pig was written out with blood on the wall. The LaBiancas were disturbed, but they had no idea that the sinister forces that had murdered Sharon Tate would soon arrive on their own door. The LaBiancas were not known or famous, not like Sharon Tate, J. Sebring, Abigail Folger, All Manson family victims were either household names or known in Hollywood circles, but not the LaBiancas. Leno LaBianca was born Pasqualino Antonio LaBianca, I can't talk tonight, on August 6th, 1925. He was murdered only 4 days after his 44th, oh my gosh, please let me talk, 44th birthday. He was the son of Italian American immigrants. He followed in his father's footsteps, and he went into the grocery store business. He served overseas in World War II. He married his high school sweetheart. They had 3 children together. By 1955, the two had grown apart. They divorced. And Leno married his second wife, Rosemary, in Las Vegas in 1959 or 1960. Rosemary had a more unconventional childhood. Seems she might have been born in Mexico in 1930. She lived in an orphanage in Arizona until she was 12, and she was adopted by a California couple by the name of Harmon. Like Leno, Rosemary married and had children, but in 1958 she too divorced. In 1969, Leno and Rosemary LaBianca oversaw a mixed family that had become increasingly the norm in the United States. He continued to work in the grocery industry. Rosemary co-founded a high-end clothing store. They spent time with each other's children, and they were teenagers and young adults by the time that the two were murdered. The day before the murder, Leno and Rosemary LaBianca spent the day with Rosemary's children, Frank and Susan. It's so weird, Frank and Susan, because it's so weird. Okay. Leno, Rosemary, and Susan drove up to Lake Isabel. I think. And she spells her name Suzan. I think we went over this because I remember something. About just talking about this LaBianca. Somebody was just talking about this. On this. And I feel like I looked into this already. Maybe I did. Okay, I'm talking to myself. I'm sorry. I'm not really. I was talking to you guys. So anyway, Leno, Rosemary, and Susan drove up to Lake Isabel. And they were going to pick up 16-year-old Frank, who was staying with his friend's family. But Frank wanted to stay an extra day, and his parents said, okay. They drove back to Los Angeles. They dropped Susan off at her apartment, and they started off towards their own house, which was located at 3301 Waverly Drive in a neighborhood just south of Griffith Park. They had moved in the year before. It was Leno's childhood home. Let me get this here. The mansion. Okay, so this is the LaBiancas. I'm going to tell you that this went for sale in 2019. And it went for $1.9 million. And this is the house that they're talking about right here. And here's a picture of the inside. So this is the house that we're talking about. In fact, I think they have kept the original bathroom. Look at that. It's pink. It's mid-century modern. So anyway, Rosemary seemed upset about the murders. On their way home after dropping off Susan, the LaBiancas stopped to get gas, and they made a U-turn. They picked up an issue of the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner at a newsstand across the street. That's where Leno LaBianca was a regular customer, and he talked for a few minutes about the news of the day, and that was, of course, the murder of Sharon Tate Company. Rosemary seemed disturbed by the murders, according to the man they spoke to at the newsstand. And he told police he remembered the LaBiancas left between 1 and 2 a.m. Okay, now, in May, this was, they were in summer, but in May of that year, Rosemary had written to Leno LaBianca's daughter about something odd in their house. We haven't had any robberies, she wrote, but every time I come home, I expect to either find someone in the house or something missing. The LaBiancas had reported bizarre incidences to the police, objects in the house they thought had been moved, their dogs found outside when they were left inside. Rosemary wrote to her stepdaughter, I think the police have stopped working on our case. An odd occurrence for sure, although no evidence suggests that Charles Manson or his followers broke into the LaBiancas' house before the murders, or that they had been selected as victims months prior to the actual murders. Now, in the very early morning hours of August 10th, 1969, Rosemary went to bed, and Leno stayed up in the living room. He was reading the sports section of the paper. They had no inkling what was about to happen, or why Charles Manson targeted the LaBiancas' house. Many say that he made a random choice based on the location of a house nearby that belonged to Harold True, where Manson and several of the followers had attended a party. Okay, let's see. Charles Manson and his right-hand man, Charles Tex Watson, were the first to enter the LaBianca house. They subdued the couple by promising that they would not be hurt or killed, only robbed. Rosemary was in the bedroom, Leno in the living room. Manson left the house. He instructed some of the girls waiting in the car outside, Patricia Krenwinkel and Leslie Van Houten, to enter the house and murder the people inside. So Leslie Van Houten is the one that's talking about the parole. Okay. While Van Houten and Krenwinkel went to find Rosemary, Watson stood over Leno. Leno LaBianca seemed to sense that the Manson's promise that no one would be hurt carried little weight. He began to struggle, and Watson stabbed him in the neck with a bayonet. "Don't stab me anymore," Leno cried. Then, in an eerie echo of Abigail Folger's last words, he moaned, "I'm dead, I'm dead." In the bedroom, Rosemary LaBianca could clearly hear the struggle in her husband's screams. She fought back against Krenwinkel and Van Houten. Angry, Van Houten went to the kitchen and brought back several utensils, including knives. Rosemary pleaded for her life, saying they could take anything and she wouldn't call the police. The more she said police, the more panicked I got, Van Houten testified in 1971. She held Rosemary down while Krenwinkel stabbed her in the neck. We started stabbing and cutting up the lady, Van Houten testified. But the knife bent. The girls screamed for Watson to help them, and he did. Van Houten recalled that Watson gave her a knife, and then I stabbed Mrs. Bianca in the lower torso. I knew I needed to do something. By the end of the awful struggle, Rosemary had been stabbed 41 times. And there's Leslie Van Houten then and now. Krenwinkel later recalled the moments after she helped murder Rosemary. She turned her attention to Leno. You won't be sending your son off to war, she thought. And I guess I put war on the man's chest. And then I guess I had a fork in my hands, and I put it in his stomach. And I went and wrote on the walls. Using blood from the victims, they wrote "Rise" and "Death to Pigs" on the walls, and they misspelled "Helter Skelter" on the refrigerator door, and then the killers showered, pet the LaBianca's dogs, and left. Meanwhile, Charles Manson got back in the car with a getaway driver, Linda Kasabian, who later became the prosecution's star witness. He handed her a wallet. Rosemary's, told her to drop it onto the sidewalk as soon as they arrived at a black neighborhood. According to the prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi's Helter Skelter, Manson wanted a black person to find the wallet and use the credit card so the police would think that that person was the real LaBianca killer. Plans changed. He wanted Kasabian to pull into a gas station in Sylmar, about 20 miles northwest of 3301 Waverly Drive, which was the LaBianca's house. And he wanted her to leave the wallet in the woman's bathroom. She didn't just leave it, she hid it in the toilet tank. In fact, the wallet wouldn't be found for 4 months. The next day, Leno and Rosemary's own children discovered their dead bodies. Leno was on the living room floor with a bloody pillowcase covering his head, a cord tied around his neck, and his hands behind his back, tied together with a leather thong. Rosemary was on the bedroom floor wearing one of her favorite dresses, blue and white horizontal stripes, bunched up over her head, exposing her naked body. The LaBianca's violent murder seemed another indication of a decaying society. It was a circus-like atmosphere of the trials against Manson, and his young followers brought chaos to Los Angeles and the county at large. As for Leno, LaBianca, and Rosemary LaBianca, they are today the forgotten victims of Charles Manson. Their deaths, while horrible and shocking, are overshadowed by the brutal Tate killings. And Charles Manson, in death as in life, manages to dominate the entire narrative. I wanted to bring up... Hold on. So let's see. She testified. Let's see. What happened to Tex Watson? Okay, so Charles Denton Watson was born December 2nd, 1945 in Dallas, Texas. Youngest of 3 children, grew up in the small town of Coveville, Texas. Had a happy childhood by his own account. looked up to his parents. His parents ran a gas station in town. Watsons were people that went to church. Charles got older. He became more involved with church activities. In high school, he was an honor roll student, and he even held some town sports records. Played football, basketball, and track. And during his junior year, he was an editor for the high school paper called The High Life. When he went away to North Texas State University in September of '64, his grades started to slip. He became more interested in girls and alcohol. Through a roommate, he got a job as a baggage boy for Braniff Airlines. He got free flights. He would go to Hawaii for the weekend, take a girl with him. He began smoking marijuana and experimenting with other drugs. Senior year, he decided to go to California to visit a fraternity brother. Impressed with it, he came back to Texas only to tell his parents, "That's it, I'm going out to California, I'm going to live out there." He signed up for classes at Cal State, got a job as a wig salesman in Beverly Hills, lived in a few different places, an apartment in Silver Lake, then moved to Laurel Canyon. Then he got his knee hurt in a car crash. So that kept him out of the Army. He dropped out of school. He moved to Malibu. He opened a wig shop with his roommate, and the store was called Love Locks. Turned out to be a failure. Closed after just a couple of months to pay the rent. He began dealing marijuana out to people. Okay. Let's see. He picked up Beach Boy Dennis Wilson, who was hitchhiking. Wilson invited him back to his mansion. Watson visited the house several times, and he ended up going to live there for the summer. Charles Manson and the family were regulars at Dennis Wilson's mansion. With time, Watson decided to join, giving them all of his possessions. According to Watson, for years, I'd struggled to accumulate all I could, the right car, the right clothes, the right things that would somehow complete what I thought was missing inside me, and now I gave everything I had to Charlie. Suddenly, I felt very free. So then he became Tex Watson, a nickname he got from the Spahn Ranch owner, George Spahn, where he lived there with the family throughout the fall of '68, enjoying the girls, the drugs, but decided to leave at the end of November. He moved into a Hollywood apartment with a girl named Luella. They made a good living selling dope. Tex bought expensive clothes, even liked having his hairstyle. Luella ended up getting pregnant, had to go down to Mexico where she had an abortion. In March of '69, Tex decided to go back to the family, but things had changed. People were buzzing about an upcoming revolution called Helter Skelter. In April, he was arrested in Van Nuys for public intoxication. He was high on belladonna, and he was slithering around on his hands and knees amongst a crowd of children saying beep, beep, beep. In the spring or summer of '69, both Charles Manson and Tex went out looking for people to kill. They ended up in a casino parking lot waiting for people to come out. Tex had a knife in his hand, came up onto two older women who were in their car. And the women got away just in the nick of time. Manson and Watson chased the two for about 15 minutes before they gave up. Later that summer, Tex set up a fake drug deal to burn his ex-girlfriend Luella and a man named Bernard Latsapapa Crow out of 2,500. Crow was angry, started threatening Luella as well as the family, so Manson ended up shooting him in the stomach. Charles Manson thought that Crow died, but he didn't. Crow survived the attack, but didn't report it to the police. August 8th, 1969, Charles Manson told Tex to go to 10050 Cielo Drive, kill everyone there. So Tex, along with Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, went to the house and did just that. Watson led the group and had a hand in the murder of everyone there. Following day, the group piled again into the car, this time with Steve Grogan, Leslie Van Houten, and Manson himself joined them after driving for hours. Tex, Leslie, and Pat were dropped off at the La Bianca residence. Tex was the leader, delivering death blows to both Leno and Rosemary. According to Watson, there would have been more murders if it wasn't for a phone call the following day. Mrs. Watson was worried about her son because she hadn't heard from him in 6 months. She called one of his friends, told him to go find Tex. Watson then made up a story and told Manson that the FBI had come to look for him at his parents' house. Watson then told the rest of the family. Watson and the rest of the family moved to Death Valley at the end of the summer. Before going, Tex helped Charlie, Bruce Davis, and Clem kill ranch hand Donald Shorty Shea. On October 2nd, Tex decided to flee the ranch, head back to Texas, where he got a respectable haircut, began dating a girl. On November 30th, he was arrested in Texas for the Tate LaBianca murders. He and his lawyers fought the extradition back to California for 9 months, and this is why he didn't go to trial with Charlie and the 3 girls. When he went to California, he regressed to a fetal state. He stopped talking, he stopped eating, and he lost 55 pounds. He was admitted to a state hospital for a 90-day observation to determine if he was competent to stand trial. He was there until February of 1970, and he was deemed able to stand trial. Like the others, District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi prosecuted Tex for the murders on October 12, 1971. He was convicted of 7 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder. A week later, the same jury took only 2.5 hours to determine that Tex was sane at the time of the murders. And 2 days later, on October 21st, Charles Tex Watson was sentenced to the gas chamber. Tex was sent to San Quentin, where he stayed until September of 1972. He was then moved to California's men's colony in San Luis Obispo after California briefly outlawed the death penalty. 3 years later, he found Jesus, was born again with the help of a famous prison chaplain, Raymond Hoekstra. Tex became a student of the chaplain. He led Bible studies. He preached to a small congregation and was even baptized. A year before his first parole hearing, he wrote an autobiography entitled, "Will You Die for Me?" Shortly after, he married a woman named Kristen. He founded his own prison ministry, Abounding Love Ministries. He also completed courses in data processing and office machine repair. In 1987, a woman named Suzanne LaBerge began visiting him. LaBerge, who was actually, I knew this was going to be this, was actually Suzanne Struthers, Rosemary's LaBianca's daughter, attended Watson's 1990 parole hearing, telling the parole board that because of Christ, Tex was a new man, no longer dangerous, and should be released. Wow. Sharon Tate's mother, Doris, and other members of the LaBianca family made it clear that Suzanne was not speaking for the rest of them. In 1993, Tex was moved to Mule Creek State Prison in Ione, California. Through conjugal visits, Charles has fathered 3 boys and 1 girl with his wife, Kristen. However, California no longer allows conjugal visits for prisoners convicted of murder. Now, hold on 1 second. Why are they calling him? Okay. So he was trusted. That's so crazy. So is he still alive? Hold on a minute. He's still alive. He was denied for parole. Okay, let's see. 75 denied. That was in 2021, so he's like 77 now. So, right? Okay, so let me see something here. So in the trial, the defense perspective was, given the state of evidence, Tex couldn't persuasively say he wasn't there and took no part in the killings. If he was to succeed, it would be because he convinced jurors that he was legally insane at the time of the murders, or that he did not have the required state of mind necessary to sustain a murder conviction. His peculiar behavior in the months leading up to his trial was some evidence that he did suffer from a diseased mind, and he would use that in conjunction with the powerful combination of drugs and Charles Manson in his quest to avoid a conviction and the death penalty. Tex began his testimony by going through his background, that he grew up in a small town in Texas, in Copeville. He went to the University of North Texas for 3 years, worked at Braniff Airlines, came to California, met Charlie through the Beach Boy Dennis Wilson, became a member of Charlie's family, fell under a spell. His wig business failed. He couldn't get into the Army because of his knee. He moved back to Spawn Ranch and began the frenzied drug-induced preparations for Helter Skelter. Charlie was in Tex's head, and according to the defensive theory, there wasn't much of Tex left. In closing arguments in the trial against Charles Manson, Leslie Van Houten, Susan Atkins, and Patricia Krenwinkel, prosecutor Vince Bugliosi famously reminded the jurors of the 7 emotional anchors of his case. He recited the list of victims in what he called the roll call of the dead. In his opening statement, Tex's lawyer, Sam Bubrick, tried to head that dramatic argument off at the pass, saying Tex is alive, to be sure, but if Mr. Bugliosi, in his summation to you, ever reads the roll call of the dead and tells you that the victims of these homicides ordered by Charlie cry out from their graves for justice, I would ask you that you add one more name to that list, Charles Tex Watson. Bubrick carried the theme into his examination of Tex, who described Charlie. There was no wrong. Everything was perfect. Not killing, not stealing, nothing was wrong. There were no mistakes. Charlie was a perfect being to me, like Christ. The people down the hill had so much to fear. We did not. We had experienced true fear. But because we did, we weren't afraid anymore. Charlie was a supreme being that could see all my thoughts. The longer I was around him, the more of my own thoughts I didn't have anymore. I was becoming Charlie Manson and the girls. We were all becoming one. That was the state of Tex Watson's mind in August of '69, removed from his family, from his upbringing, living on the fringes of society, preparing every day for the race war to end all wars. It was to be the war that would make his family, now existing as one with Charlie, the leaders of the world. That's the Tex Watson that woke up and opened his eyes to Spahn Ranch on August 8th, 1969. Before he would close them again, he would be a killer 5 times over. And that's what he told the jurors. He said that Tex woke up on August 8th and took some belladonna, the same route that led to him crawling around on a sidewalk, subsequently going to jail in April. And then he took some speed, and after dinner he said he took LSD. Charlie took him aside and told him to go up where Terry Melcher used to live, kill everybody in that house. Charlie wanted him to make it as gruesome as he could. Charlie told him to take some bolt cutters and cut the wires, and to wash off and throw away the guns, knives, and clothes, and write something on the wall, but he didn't say what. Tex got in the car with Linda Kasabian and Susan Atkins. They drove to Terry Melcher's old house on Cielo Drive. Tex did as he was told, climbed up the pole. Linda handed him the cutters. He cut the occupants of Cielo to the outside world, cut them off. Tex testified that at that point, I just knew Charlie was there. I could see and hear him, hear his voice. They end up in the house. A man's asleep on the couch. He wakes up and another man comes in. Tex empties the gun in him. Then he went around the couch, started stabbing the other. Patricia Krenwinkel was already over there stabbing him. The man was Jay Sebring, the Korean War veteran turned barber to the stars extraordinaire, who took his last breath next to his friend Sharon Tate. Just then, Susan Atkins hollered she was fighting with a man out the front door. She yelled, "Tex, Tex." Tex ran over and started hitting him with the butt of a gun. Susan Atkins was stabbing the man too. Tex and Susan stabbed him to death while he was on the ground on the lawn. That man was Wojtek Frykowski, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, French-speaking friend of Roman Polanski. Patricia Krenwinkel came over to Tex, said, "There's one over there. There is a woman lying in the grass with blood all over her." Tex stabbed and killed her. The woman was Abigail Folger, the coffee heiress and Harvard graduate named Gabby. He said under oath that they all had no forms, no faces, no expressions. They were just blobs. They all met up at the car at the bottom of the hill where they met with Linda. And they all got in the car, they changed clothes, and they drove off. A little while later, they stopped at a house and started to use the hose to clean up. A person appeared and asked them what the heck they were doing. Tex tells them they're getting a drink and they'll leave. They throw their clothes and weapons out along the way, and they go back to Spahn Ranch. Charlie was at the ranch, dancing around naked. Tex tells jurors that the two didn't talk. He went to sleep. He denied having a rope with him, denied tying up Mr. Sebring and Sharon Tate. He also denied writing anything on the walls or doors at the Cielo Drive house. He said he slept most of the day on August 9th. He said Charlie gave him acid and a knife that night. He left the ranch with Charlie, Linda Kasabian, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, Leslie Van Houten, and Steve Grogan, the man referred to as Clem. The seven drove around for a long time, eventually arriving at the LaBianca house. He told jurors he'd never been there before. He went in with Patricia Krenwinkel and Leslie Van Houten. Right when they walked in, he and Patricia started stabbing the body on the couch. It was covered. The head was wrapped in something he claims he couldn't see whether it was a boy or a girl. Leslie hollered and screamed for him. She was in the bedroom down the hall stabbing another person. The person's face was covered. Her hands weren't bound. He got up from stabbing the female. When Patricia came running in, told him to go to the person on the couch. He went back to the living room, began stabbing the person on the couch. They all changed before they left. It was still dark outside. They went walking and got lost, and they slept under a tree. Next morning, they got up and they went back to Spahn Ranch. Charlie told him to go up to Alancha for a couple of days Sometime towards the end of his 10 days in Olancha, he called his mother and told her that the end of the world was coming, that they were going to be the only ones left on the earth in the bottomless pit. And he told her that he found Jesus. Not Jesus, the Son of God, he meant Charlie. He wandered around the desert searching for the abyss to no avail. He eventually got money from a Western Union wired to him by his parents, and he went back to Texas. He told the jurors that he left California because Charlie asked him to kill again. And this time, it was the highway patrolman and the forest ranger they had come to know on their travels around the desert and Goler, Washington. Back home in Coatesville, Texas, all he was talking about with his parents was helter-skelter. Charlie was still in my head all the time, he said. He claimed he never used drugs, besides weed, after the murders, but the draw for Charlie was too strong. Tex left his parents' place, going to Mexico, then back to California, then to Hawaii, then back to California, and he explained to the jurors that he even walked 50 or 60 miles to Goler, Washington, but he didn't find anyone. He gave up, and he went back to Texas, and he stayed there until he turned himself into the Collin County Jail and began the extradition process. Okay, let's see here. So the prosecutor said, in my estimation, let's see here. Oh no, hold on one second. According to, Bugliosi, the prosecutor, Tex was still trying to get away with murder. He began by asking a simple question and given Tex's previous testimony. Bugliosi said that the answer had to be, in every murder trial, there's at least one picture introduced of the victim as they appeared when alive. Bugliosi held up all 7 of these pictures and asked, "Did you kill all 7 of these people?" Yes. He then pointed out that Tex raised the wrong hand, the left one, when he took the oath. Are you trying to manipulate the jurors? Whether Tex was or wasn't, it was inconsequential. It was a peculiar act that even the jurors missed. They knew then. If the jurors missed it, they knew then. The best way to show that Tex knew the difference between right and wrong was to show that Tex tried on many occasions to avoid being caught. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me see here. Ow, ow, ow. My foot. My foot is killing me. Okay. When he was approached by law enforcement after the murders, a few days after, on a matter unrelated to the Tate or the LaBianca murders, he ran away from officers and hid in a bush. When he was on the stand, he tried to explain that he wasn't hiding at all, that he just had to go to the bathroom. But the prosecutor pointed out to the jurors that Tex gave the wrong name, Charles Montgomery, instead of Watson. Bugliosi next asked him about all of those worldly travels in the months after the murders, from Texas to Mexico to Hawaii. Were you hiding from the police? Were you running from them? Tex said. No, I was looking for Charlie. Did you think Charlie was in Hawaii? No, he said. In order to show Tex's guilty conscience and defeat his insanity and diminished capacity defenses, the prosecutor focused on Tex's inconsistent beliefs about the murders. Tex testified that because of his infatuation with and belief in Charlie the deity, he thought that murder was perfect, that there was no wrong. But according to Tex, in all of his travels and in all of his time after the murders in the free world, in all of his interactions, he never told anyone about the murders. The prosecutor asked if they were perfect and not wrong. Why didn't you tell everyone you met about them? Planning and premeditation defeat insanity and diminished capacity too. Tex testified that he didn't use the gate at Cielo Drive, that he jumped over the fence. The prosecutor pointed out that Tex had been to Cielo Drive before on numerous occasions and would have known that if you pushed the button for the gate, then a bell would have gone off in the house And if the bell went off, then Tex and his other killers would have lost their element of surprise. The prosecutor also pointed out that Tex cut the correct wires, the phone lines that lead to the house, because Tex wanted to keep quiet. Finally, the prosecutor set out to prove that Tex was embellishing his mental problems. He acted mentally ill when he described his victims as things and blobs. Those were human beings, exclaimed the prosecutor, and he pointed out to the jurors that Tex slipped up by referring to the victims as he and she, obviously references to people. Cross-examination concluded, and Tex returned to the defense table. The trial was over, and after the closing arguments, jurors returned a guilty verdict on October 19th, 1971. Jurors rejected Tex's insanity plea 2 days later, and they sentenced him to death. When the Supreme Court of California ruled the death penalty unconstitutional, Tex's death sentence was commuted to life in prison. Tex became a born-again Christian and, as a prison chaplain, baptized inmates. He led Bible study groups. He preached. He founded Abounding Love Ministries with his Norwegian wife, Kristen. They married in 1979 and had 3 children. He receives $1,500 a month from people on a national mailing list to whom he sends religious cassette tapes and a Christian newsletter. Per a report on a parole board hearing, his steward became Suzanne LaBerge, Rosemary LaBianca's daughter from a relationship prior to Leno's. She began visiting Tex in 1987 and made an impassioned plea for his release. Pleas for the release of her mother's killer. Her pleas have gone unanswered. Tex remains in a California prison. So he is still alive. Okay. So let me see if anybody is still here with me, because we went from Manson to hi Bucky Ann. Let's see. I have seen that movie Helter Skelter, the old one. It was a TV movie and 2 parts, long time ago on TV. Goodbye, Rich Guillaume. I didn't see. I saw a little bit of that documentary that I don't remember where it was. It was horrible, and I mean I'd always heard it as a kid about what happened and what they did to the Sharon Tate. I've always heard it as a little kid. I mean, like in school and stuff. As a little kid, 3rd grade, 4th grade. It was all around, but never really got into really, this is like a lot, but somebody was talking about the LaBiancas recently, because I remember it. Hi, little lady. I saw the most recent one with a bit more fictional, with Brad Pitt as the neighbor. Okay. So that's that tonight. It's horrible. The documentary I saw, it's so horrible. Oh. Let me put the number in. We'll probably do something fun now to get us off of this. Let me see something. Hang on a minute. I feel like my chair is falling down or something. feel so far down. Hold on, I have to fix something. I feel like everything is, oh, okay, much better. Okay. I did fall down. Okay. So let me get, well, maybe we should, what should we do? I want to play the real estate game for a little bit just to get off of this for a little bit. So I will throw this in. And, oh, Christiane, I sent you an email. Hope you got it. I didn't check my email. Let me check. Christiane. Why do I have it? I have an appointment reminder for June 2nd. Cool. That's cool news, Carolyn. That's cool. Did they rent that house? Cool. Very cool. I don't know if you got my email, Christiane. Okay. Now, what am I supposed to be doing? And Mary Warren, I don't know if you ever got that thing from Chatty Texas Girl. Chatty Texas Girl. I can't find Slack. Oh, I know where Slack is. It's over here. Okay. This my beer that I'm drinking. No. All right, let me see here now. All right, so let's move into something else. Okay, here's something. Here's a mid-century we're going to look into in Connecticut on 11 acres. Forget what I don't remember what sitcom there was, but the kid was like, he called Connecticut. Or was that a relative of mine? I don't know. Okay, wait a second. I put the wrong address in there. I put the wrong address in there. Okay. Okay, let me pull this over. And, uh-oh. Okay. So let me tell you about this. This is an extraordinary home. It was designed by architect Vincent Amore. An early commissions built closely with the family using native stone from the site, created with intricate stone wall formations, glass, skylights, and wood. Perfectly sited on 11 acres, combined with pastures, mature trees, it provides a peaceful and private retreat. From the dramatic entryway, you can see the living room is the heart of the home, with a stunning stone fireplace and floor-to-ceiling windows that provide views of the beautiful surroundings. The home melds the outdoors and indoors, and the patio becomes an extension of the living room in the warmer months, ideal for outdoor entertaining and enjoying the surrounding natural beauty. Charming details abound in the house: uplighting, metalwork, screen dividers. The dining room between the large living space and the kitchen has its own views across the fields. There's a wonderful den with its own fireplace, 4 bedrooms, and 2.5 bathrooms, all fanning out from a central skylit hallway. The primary has its own private hallway, a wall of glass overlooking the gardens, a built-in desk and cabinet, and an ensuite bathroom. Other features are a 2-car carport, a walkout basement that opens up to a sunken courtyard, a barn, grazing pastures for horses, plus a large shed for vehicles and equipment. The owners were early adapters to solar, and panels are located in a nearby field, abutting acres of protected water company land. Let's take a look. I don't know what this is. Some kind of a tree sculpture. Okay. What part right there reminds me of the Godfather house, the one that in Las Vegas where they almost killed. The roof looks a little funky here. The Godfather house on top of it, I thought about it was the one in winter where he said she had a miscarriage, or was that the one in, was that the Vegas house? Why am I thinking there was snow? I don't know. Look at those doors. Floors. It reminds me of the Brady's house with the stone inside and the windows on top. Didn't they have something like that in his study or on the way to the study or something? Reminds me of people that always had the one suspended. That's like original. It's really a step back in time in this house, isn't it? I don't know, it looks kind of sad on the outside. Like it looks like everything's been abandoned or something, you know? But anyway, what do you think that is? How much do you think that is? Remember, it's on 11 acres in Bethany, Connecticut. Okay, and we'll see if he goes in the rowboat and gets, yeah, kind of looks like that, right? Fredo, you broke my heart. Remember that one? Fredo, you broke my heart. Deborah Vancouver says 375. Little Lady says 650. Elle says 600. Lisa L says 785. Not for me, Lisa L says. She doesn't want it. She hates it. Okay, come on. Bucky Ann, did you put something in? Bucky Ann, did you put something in there? We may be having a karaoke Patreon night on Thursday. And remember that as soon as we get 30 new Patreons, we will do the drawing for the Coach wallet, as well as 50 new members. So don't forget. Okay, you put everything in? All right. Hang on. Okay. That's the price. That's the price. Hello, Sharon. Oh, gosh. Scary. Hello, Sharon.
Are you still alive?
Yeah. I can barely hear you. I can barely hear you.
That's okay.
That's okay? All right.
Well, I mean, I left my earbuds inside.
Oh, okay. All right. We are going to see next. Where should we go? Where should we go? Where should we go? What is this? Did we go to see this house? I think we did see this house. One right here. Okay, I don't want to go to see the house. We've already seen the house. Let's go to see this house. Let's see what this is. Okay, so we're going to go to Glen Ridge, New Jersey. I'm not really sure where that is. It's not near Park Ridge. Okay, so let me over here. I'm going to pull up this house. Kind of reminds me of a house in a movie or something like that. Okay, and I'll put that there. So this is what the house looks like here. And there's the front door, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Summertime ready for front porch relaxation and backyard fun. It's a beautiful 5-bedroom, 2.5-bath Craftsman colonial. It exudes curb appeal. It's perfectly located on a sought-after side street close to all that is Glen Ridge. Half a mile to the quaint town center, the Midtown direct train to New York City, and top New Jersey schools. Fall in love with the natural sunlight in the bright and airy foyer, high ceilings, and spacious rooms. Okay, the main floor seamlessly connects to the living room, dining room, and kitchen areas, fostering a sense of togetherness and effortless entertaining. The original butler's pantry is complete with coveted built-ins, flows into the large eat-in kitchen with granite countertops, ample storage, and convenient first-floor powder room. Upstairs, the second floor has bedrooms plus a renovated bath. The front bedroom is a sunny office, perfect for WFH days. The third floor features a second beautifully renovated full bath with radiant heat floor, a fifth bedroom, and attic storage. Major pluses: 2-zone central air, hardwood floors, and newer windows. The basement is a large space with endless potential. The backyard offers a peaceful oasis for relaxation and outdoor activities. A spacious patio area awaits to set up a barbecue grill and create a cozy seating area around the fire. The yard itself is perfect for gardening, playing, or simply enjoying the fresh air. 2-car detached garage with 220-volt outlet, EV charging. Total lot size 7,950 square feet. Inviting spaces and peaceful outdoor living presents a home with style, comfort, and convenience. Make this wonderful house your new home today. Let's see. Very nice. It has a very craftsman feel. A lot of light. Nice bathroom. I love the tile on the floor, whether it's the original one or they put it in to look vintage. I love that. I actually kept tile like that in my powder room on the floor. I love it. This is the attic. Yard. My gosh, are you okay? Okay, here's the fire pit. And okay, so how much is that house in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that house in the window? Okay. I hear a chair being moved, but not shots. What? 4 more shots? What are you guys talking about? Gunshots? Why do I hear gunshots? That's Sharon.
What?
You were moving something. It sounded really bad.
I didn't move anything.
It sounded like a chair being... See, look at the chat. It sounded like a chair being dragged across the floor.
I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here minding my own business.
Okay, she's minding her own business, chat. You don't have any gunshots, right? Bucky Ann heard 4 gunshots.
Wow. Not here.
All right. Look at these prices are all over the place. $8.49 from Little Lady, Bucky Ann to $5.45. Lisa L $4.90. L $3.95. $5.75 from Sharon. $4.50 from Deborah Van Couverdin. The price is $8.75.
Wow.
Yes.
It's a nice house, but it's not that nice.
Well, it's the part where it is.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to see another house in the same town. So you need to use that as your gauge.
All right.
Okay, and we're going to see a secret garden in the heart of Glen Ridge, the same town in New Jersey. Okay. And let me pull this up. Come on, this was, okay, here we go. These look like homes from like some movie, like the Beaver, like the quintessential neighborhood homes or something, I don't know. So nestled behind a private garden is the most serene home in Glen Ridge. The stunning side hall colonial is tucked away from the hustle and the bustle of the street and sits perfectly surrounded by lush, mature trees and greenery. With its beautiful gardens, tranquil backyard, and gracious interior, this is the home to take a moment, slow down, and enjoy the beauty around you. So let's go to see this 4-bedroom, 4-bath home. This reminds me of one that was in the Twilight Zone where they said, "I sing the body electric," and they came down those stairs. Kind of reminds me of Rhinebeck too, with the houses up there like that. I don't know. I feel like it could have been a condenser there living there. Everything would have been different living there. I like that. It's really nice. I like that. Okay, so go ahead and put your, remember it's in the same town as the other one. You love this one, Marianne. Yeah, it's got a nice vibe to it. It does. It does. It has a nice vibe to it. Bucky Ann says $8.95. Sharon says $7.01. Little lady, says $6.99. L says $1 million. L went from crazy. $6.75 says Marianne. $8.85 says Deborah Van Couverden. Well, the correct answer is $8.29. Mary Warren, how are you? Did you ever get that thing from Caddy Texas Girl about those cards? $9.92 and $8.90 from Lisa L. Bringing up the rear, and the correct answer is $8.29. Let's see. I'm going to go...
Very cozy.
Yes. All right, let's see. Okay, let's take a look at, let's see what this is like. All right, so we're going to go into an iconic Alta Vista neighborhood home in South Carolina, built in 1919, which is the year my father was born. And it says that it is a rare opportunity to purchase an iconic 1919 era home in the highly sought after Alta Vista neighborhood nestled between Greenville and Augusta Road. So let's see what this is like, because this looks pretty nice. Let's see. Okay, we're going to go over here. And we're going to go over here. And I'm going to tell you about this. It's a rare opportunity. It features soaring ceilings, beautiful millwork, old charm, perfect blend, original harpine flooring combined with many modern amenities. It has a renovated gourmet kitchen, exquisite outdoor entertaining spaces, many updated major home components. The home's open floor plan is over 4,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms. On the main level, you'll find the gourmet kitchen with granite countertops, large center island, high-end stainless steel appliances, cozy den with built-ins, located on one side of the kitchen and a spacious dining room. On the other, access to the welcoming door. Courtyard is also available through the kitchen. The home's main living room features soaring coffered ceilings, a double-sided fireplace, French doors to the expansive front porch. A library and den is located on one side of the living room. It features built-ins, double-sided fireplace, access to the entertaining courtyard. On the other side of the living room is a den that leads into a spacious sunroom office. This room would easily be converted to a main floor master suite with access to the home's side yard with wrought iron gate and handsome brick walls. Rounding out the main level is a full bathroom and laundry room combination. Upstairs you'll find 4 bedrooms. Each one features many windows letting in natural light, original harpine flooring, a full bathroom with honeycomb ceramic tile flooring, a vintage porcelain tub shower combination, antique furniture style vanity. Rounding out the upstairs is a flex room that could easily be converted into a spacious bathroom. The grounds of the home are an entertainer's dream. The current owners designed a beautiful patio area with slate chip walkways, boxwoods, and many other lovely trees and plantings are found. There is a one-car detached carport, privacy fencing. The current owners of the home purchased with plans for a 3-phase renovation, of which they've completed 2 phases. Updates to the exterior of the home, some major home components, and extensive landscaping. This offers the new owners of this home the opportunity to put their own touch on the home's bathrooms and bedrooms as desired. Recent updates include they replaced the exterior siding with hardboard to match the size of the original wood siding. They repainted the exterior of the home. They restored brackets, fencing, and framing on the exterior, replaced windows, repointed brick floor, front porch. They upgraded some electrical. They refinished the floors on the main level. They repainted the interior of the home. They renovated the old porch on the east side of the house with a brick entrance. They finished and added HVAC, added gutters, downspouts, French drains, new landscaping, installed sod, extensive design of yard to include courtyard, slate chips for garden paths, and parking areas of carport, kitchen renovation in 2015, new architectural roof by previous owners located within walking distance to downtown Greenville and Augusta roads, amenities zoned for award-winning Augusta Circle Elementary School, Hughes Middle School, and Greenville High. Don't miss your chance to purchase this one-of-a-kind Greenville home. Let's take a look.
This might have been a flip.
Well,
This might have been flipped where it was not in great shape and they brought it back.
oh, they did. They did 2 phases of the renovation. It's a weird table to have outside. Okay, so what do you think for that 4,000 square foot 1919 prairie style home in South Carolina?
I'm not wild about the pea gravel, but I like the house.
Okay, all that work will make it very expensive, says Beth. Oh, those built-ins, love it. I love those built-ins too. Very nice. I guess is the home. White Angel says $925. $749, $1.2 million. L retracted. Mary Warren says 997. L says 1 million. 889. Little lady. Sharon says 89. And the answer is 998.
Oh, 1 million.
998. 998.
Well, Mary Warren. Looks like you won it.
Okay, let's see. If we want to go on this one. Let me see if I can find this one. That's weird. Let me see. All right, let's go here. I don't think we've been here. Okay. How many days has this been on the market? Let me see. 20 days, only 20 days on the market. So this is a new one. Okay. So we're going to go to Maine. Monmouth, Maine. And I'll tell you about this. Welcome to 547 Ridge Road. This stunning property has something for everyone. It has mountain views, gorgeous master ensuite, a historical character, accents throughout, room for everyone, energy efficient setup, a huge barn, even the possibility to come furnished. The home is sure to impress with its energy efficient upgrades, pleasing aesthetics, most notably new standing seam metal roof, new solar panels, new heat pumps, heat and AC, heat pump hot water heater, new pellet stove, wood burning insert, and on-demand generator. Bonus, an invisible dog fence is already in place. Home and septic are pre-inspected. Step inside, you'll be greeted by a modern kitchen with sleek countertops, ample cabinet space, top-of-the-line stainless steel appliances. Adjacent dining area is perfect for hosting dinner parties, intimate gatherings. Step right out onto the patio, enjoy the backyard, continue around the corner. Spacious living room, boasting large windows, sliding doors that let in an abundance of natural light, illuminating the beautiful hardwood floors. from the school basketball court and creating a warm and inviting ambiance. You'll love the fieldstone fireplace wall with built-in bar lighting, a true conversation point for this home. The primary bedroom ensuite with spa-like bathroom, much like the living room, are both flooded with natural light and character, beginning with the doorway to the ensuite, repurposed from a church. Each bedroom boasts large windows that offer views of the surrounding landscape. Currently used as a home gym, the second floor offers a setup that could be another ensuite. Outside, the property is just as impressive. A beautiful landscaped yard, large patio that's perfect for enjoying a morning coffee or an evening cocktail, and a spacious attached heating garage with plenty of room for storage. Okay. And let's see.
Do someone is furnished?
They could be.
Hmm. I don't like TVs way up like that. Marianne.
What in the world is that little bike over there? Is that a little kid's exercise bike?
Where?
Over there, next to the spin bike.
Isn't her? No, maybe.
The little kids.
Could be.
Look, they've got the C around for me in all the rooms. They've got the letter C.
The one looks like a biker.
Oh, they have that whole room as a closet. the playroom.
I'm trying to figure out why there's a drain in the bedroom.
The chalkboard wall. I don't think there might be a vent for the pellet stove or something. I don't know.
Well, that might be. Yeah, there it is in that room, too.
Greenhouse window. That's nice. It's a barn.
That's a church view, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's open. I will put a door on it. Oh dear, what's this?
Barn.
Oh. Ugh. Was it a cow barn, maybe? It's out in the country?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't put those things in front. Yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead and what you think it is.
How much land did they say?
Monmouth, Maine. It comes on 1.6 acres.
Hmm.
Hi, CIA Mommy. How are you? How much of 1.6 acres? How old is the house? Well, all the houses we look at are old. This one was built in 1850. I don't know how we got to look at old houses, but we did. Okay, we're all over the place here with this, from 1.3 to 1.4 to 995, 720, then to 895, and oh, that isn't much. 1.6 is still.
800, all right. I couldn't pay more than that for it.
920. It is a smaller spin bike. I zoomed in to check. Okay. It is 685.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really isolated. Yes. 120. There's no trees.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see what they said. Mean is as late. I hear you, Adventures with Beth. Okay, guys. Let's look at. Okay, so we're going to look at this one. We're going to go to Porcupine Point on Upper Suncook Lake in New Hampshire.
You ever playing the real estate game?
Okay. All right, New Hampshire lakefront. All right? Okay. Whoopsie. Where'd you go? Where'd my lakefront go? Where did you go? Hold on. Is this the right one? I don't want to give the price away. Okay. Okay, hang on. Tell you about this. This is Welcome to Porcupine Point on Upper Suncook Lake. It's enchanting. It's a 1940s cottage with extensive remodel. Fresh knotty pine throughout. Thoughtfully planned to maximize the beautiful location because it has 362 feet of waterfront, 2 bedrooms, a galley kitchen, a comfy living room with a wood stove, TV, and a loft. Who can resist the master bedroom, formerly the porch? So close you'll feel as though you were sleeping on the water. When purchased in 2017, it was totally off the grid. The seller added a well, electric service, and 3-bedroom septic system. Other original features like the original kitchen sink, moved to the deck, interior doors, some cottage windows were kept to create a romantic storybook setting. There are outbuildings. There's 3 sheds and a cute bunkhouse for your friends to stay overnight. There's a moss-covered woodland path that leads to the fire pit and a couple of rocky outcroppings for boat launching, reading, fishing, breathtaking sunsets. The lake is natural, clean, 402 acres with a depth of 43 feet, and it's connected to the lower Suncook for another 295 acres. Just imagine the vocal loons and bald eagles nesting nearby. Very private, with conservation land and primary view. With a lot of land, 2.83 acres, it will feel as private as can be. Linear waterfront measures 362 feet per recorded survey. Seller would love to leave it furnished. Don't let this one get by. Don't let it be the one that gets away. Okay.
Looks like an oak.
But it is a cottage, and that's the beauty of it. It's got a very nice dock.
Doesn't look very big.
It's not, but it's... Oh my gosh, they have the bowls that I'm looking for. Those are the green bowls that I need right there on that shelf. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out.
Buy it, Carolyn.
I have to buy it for the bowls, right?
Where are the bowls? Oh, the green bowls?
Yes, I need those. And they're in really good condition.
Oh my gosh, that's the kitchen?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's like a little cabin.
Beautiful. The operative word. Well, that's nice of you.
Oh, and then it's got the little guest house where your friends can stay over. What are those bear things?
Oh, huh. What is that on the rug?
It's a bear.
Of course.
Okay. So what do you think for that little... It's almost on 3 acres, guys.
It looks really tiny.
Could Airbnb that baby too, and that could be a income potential. Nice little cabin where somebody can go to write a book.
Oh, yeah, maybe Stephen King's your neighbor. Doesn't he live up there somewhere?
In New Hampshire?
I don't know. Doesn't he live
I
somewhere
think
up
he
there?
lives in
Maine?
Vermont or Maine or something like that.
Yeah.
If you buy the house, I'm sure they'll throw in the bowls. I know, but I need those bowls. You don't understand. Buy the house so you can have the bowls. I used to live in... All right.
Yeah, the church.
650, 1.2, 455, 550. Guys, that is lakefront. It's not going to be 550, but...
849, but it's tiny.
But it's still lakefront. And it's got a lot of area on the lakefront, and you can always make the house bigger.
50.
$839, guys. $839.
I said 455.
Okay, so let's go to show Sharon. Okay, now keep in mind, I want you to keep in mind that house, the location, and the price. Because we're going to go to another lakefront. in Freedom, New Hampshire. Hang on.
I said 455.
Okay, now.
9.
Okay, so let's go over here. And this is an exceptional offer on Ossipee Lake. This well-cared-for home is on a very private, about 1 acre lot with 200 feet of shoreline. Now, this is less shoreline than that other house you just saw. It has a westerly exposure with an outstanding lake and mountain views, gorgeous sunsets. The home is light and bright, very comfortable, open concept. 2 bedrooms, a guest room, and 2 baths on the main level. The second level has a primary bedroom. It has a 3-bedroom septic. There's a nice full-length deck off the kitchen dining area to sit and relax and enjoy the lake. The property is well landscaped with a lush lawn, large boat dock included, and a mooring as well. The shoreline is fairly flat with a combination of sand and rocks and a perched beach. The home is being sold fully furnished, turnkey. Just bring your bathing suit and toothbrush. It's an older home, but it's very well cared for. There's a 2006 22-foot pontoon boat that's negotiable with the sale. Okay, let's take a look.
This house has a metal roof.
$19.80 call. They want your cabinets back.
Roof. That's what my mom and dad had. Hated
I know.
hated the wood on the bottom and then the Formica cabinet. Horrible. And they built their house in the 90s. They built the house in the 90s. It was his cabinet. They didn't listen to me.
Oh, they're in the bathroom too.
Ugh.
Okay, so
Needs update with time. Woolen carpet's a nice touch. Yeah. View's nice. That's about it. Wi-Fi.
okay, everybody. $782, $789, $820. Oh boy. Now, keep in mind the house you just saw. That cabin that had 360 some odd feet of lake frontage and...
Yeah, but look at the water.
No, we're not talking about this. I'm talking about the one we just saw.
This one?
No, the other one. The one you said was too small and had a really nice dock and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This one is almost $2 million.
Get out of here.
I am not kidding you. It's $1,950,000.
Well, good luck. They won't get it from me. You can buy a beautiful home on the Great Lakes for that.
Compare that to the one you just saw. Okay? So, yeah. All right. Let's see now.
I'll take one. Lake Michigan, please. Yeah. It's way overpriced. I'm sorry.
Well, who has heard about... Okay, let's go see one right now. Let's see. Okay, we're going to see an almost a 6,422 square foot home on Tranquility Bay in New Hampshire. It's going to be in Alton, New Hampshire. Take a look. Okay. Okay. Come on. All right, here we go. Looks like a Lindell Cedar home. That's what it looks like to me. Let's see. Bonus rooms galore. You know what a Lindell Cedar home is? There are ample wooded buffers between you and the neighbors, bonus rooms galore, a kitchen that would put a smile on any chef, a 2-seasonal porch at both ends have been converted to year-round rooms, a new roof, freshly stained outdoor exterior. You must see the stonework around the fireplaces. It has full-length lakefront deck, covered low deck, the cathedral ceiling, blah, blah, waterfront patios. Okay. All right, let's take a look.
Already took it. Oh, you know what? One of the nights on until you can't take the cover, the top. It's the dark roof those. Yeah. one of the blues, but I really like the prose.
Oh, there's like the little canoe things that Evie and I got. Those shelves.
Yeah, they can keep the blues. I agreed to.
They could keep what? What could they keep? What, Debbie? What, Debbie? Oh, the moose head. That's really cool stonework. Wow. Wow, it's all over the room. That's really cool.
Yeah. They probably got the stone from the property itself.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or the lake.
Yeah.
Okay. Put your guesses in. Little lady says 2.9. Sharon says 2.7. Bucky Ann, are you still with us? Where are you people? Al fell asleep. Got it.
I'm still here.
I know that. I'm telling you, I know. I'm talking about the people in the chat for their guesses.
Oh. Are those maple cabinets?
They kind of look like knotty pine, don't they? Like a pine.
Oh, maybe they're fine.
Because of the knots in them, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all we're going to have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guesses. Okay. Bucky went to bed. Thank you, Mary Warren.
Gosh. 6.5. Get out. That's too much.
They're not making lakefront land anymore. That's a beautiful house on a lakefront. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Good night, Lisa.
Good night, Lisa. Good night, Lisa. Okay, let's see now. Okay, here's another charming cottage.
Charming means expensive.
Okay. This one is a charming island cottage. It's ready for you to start enjoying lakeside living in Winnipesaukee. With southern exposure, there are expansive views of Bell Knapp Mountain Range. There are 2 docks on the property with deep water access for the convenience of welcoming guests and perfect for swimming and fishing from all day long. There's also a large waterfront deck, ideal for relaxing with your morning coffee and enjoying the spectacular evening sunsets. Inside the cottage, you'll find a quaint kitchen, cozy family room that opens to the front porch, a master bedroom that overlooks the water. A second bedroom accommodates additional sleeping, plus 2 loft areas. You will not be at a loss for housing additional guests. There are 2 outbuildings on site, allowing lots of storage. Behind the property is a walking trail. Provides a 1-mile nature trail for adventures of exploring with your family and your family pets. The island oasis is just a short ride away from Guilford mainland amenities, including parking, trash disposal, and allocated islander docking day use. The island location is centrally located with convenient access to destinations such as Wares Beach, Meredith, many local marinas. The island home has a true nostalgia of a lake house camp with memories waiting to be made. Okay, let's go. See these memories. The lake is our happy place. Oh my gosh, they have those cabinets.
Mm.
Just go jump in the lake. Lake Winnipesaukee. You don't always get what you wish for, you get what you work for.
Is this Winnipesaukee?
It says Lake Winnipesaukee.
Hmm. My sister used to go
Really?
on vacation. Mm. Oh boy. Oh, so it was much bigger. Is that an outhouse?
No, it's storage.
Hmm. Oh, it is bigger. Hmm.
All right, everybody. How much?
Oh, boy. Shoot. Wait.
You don't always get what you wish for, you get what you work for. That's the saying. There was a sign. There was a sign in the house I read, White Angel. It said, you don't always get what you wish for, you get what you work for. It was in the house. I'll show it to you. Right here. You don't always get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Right here. Chadaska dumb. How you doing, Chadaska? You laughing? That's good. Chadaska.
Playing Rolling Stones, you don't always get what you want.
Right.
Get what you
Get what you
need.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, White Angel. $6.49 on that one.
$6.49.
See, now that's seeming like a bargain after seeing the other things, right? Okay.
Hmm. So if you have to climb a ladder to your bed.
The house is in lakefront and New Hampshire is very expensive. I'm talking most are millions and millions. Crazy. Boy, we better call it a night. It's 3:09. Way off. Sheesh, crazy. Chadaskam. Chadaskam-dum. Chadaskadum. Chadaskadum. I would never see the loft other than like this. LOL. I would never see the loft other than like this, LOL. What, Beth? And 7 juveniles broke out of a detention in Seattle Sunday. 3 were captured, 4 are still at large, with 2 of the 4 wanted for murder. Scary they are out. Really, Chudaskum? Chudaskadum? Chudaskadum? Where did you get that name? I think you told me this before. Chudaskadum. How do you... Chudaskadum? Are you in that area, Chudaskadum? Are you... Where did you say it happened? In Seattle? Are you near Seattle? She's not climbing the ladder.
Me neither.
Translation. Oh, translation. Oh, family native name. Are you near there? Chudaskum, Chadaskadum. Chadaskadum. I physically can't. I used to climb them all the time. Oh. Yeah, I was like, what? All right. Oh, stay safe, everybody. All right. Good night. God bless. Prayers for all. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm falling asleep, so I have to go. But it was fun. It was a funny night. A weird night. Weird funny. Good night. God bless.
Good night, everybody.
Oh. You can call me Cha. I'll call you Cha. Okay, Cha? Can I call you Chada? I like Chada. All right. Everybody, every time you're climbing a ladder, you can't do that. All right. Sorry, Jeanette. Everybody take care. God bless. Prayers. Love you guys. Good night. Bye. Be good.
Good night.